Hey guys, welcome back to Third Wheel.
I'm leaving that in, and you know I am. You know
Where
for
we talk
fact.
about random things and sometimes pets, like the last episode.
Is that your impression of Steven?
And, hold on. I
love
can't
that.
even keep a straight face. Hold on. In the episode, we
Why am I some 70s surfer guy to you? Why?
I wasn't necessarily going.
Why
I
am I
wasn't.
some blonde, like guy with long blonde hair named Chad?
I wasn't. I wasn't directly impersonating you. It was very
Okay,
heavily
whatever.
inspired by.
Let's get along with it. Steven!
Hey guys.
Okay, I can keep it together.
Steven!
Hey guys, welcome back to Third Wheel, where we talk about whatever we want, and at the end of the episode, we decide who's third wheel and make fun of them. But usually, I'm the one being made fun of anyway. For some reason.
You nailed it! Bro, Brayden knows the opening by heart.
I'm literally dying. Oh my god. Well, Brandon got it. He did it. He did all of it. There it is. Oh my
That's the
god.
episode. Just that on repeat.
Alright, that's it. Brandon, do the outro.
Who's the third wheel?
You.
Well, guys, looks like I'm the third wheel today. I'll figure out the topic for next week, and if you want to be a guest on the podcast, go to our email. Do a few other things. Just in the header thing, like make it official. Yeah.
Okay.
Podcast.
Move on.
Just for the people at home who can't see, Brandon was just bobbing back and forth in his chair the whole time he was doing that, which was really what was getting me, was that you were just like, hey guys, welcome to the third week. Going back and forth. Oh my god, it's fantastic. Well, if I don't think Brandon mentioned it, so he failed. F, never doing the podcast again. You're out. Go away. Last episode ended in a tie, and we all had no idea what to do about it. Brandon and I both threw fingers at each other, and then Grace was just like, guys, honestly, I'm just gonna take the L here. And so we ended in a tie. So we were just like, you know what? Since none of us get to, like, actually choose the topic, we're just gonna talk about whatever, I guess. Like, voice crack, I guess. We're just gonna talk about whatever. Yeah.
I'm kind of pissed off that I didn't get a voice check.
What do you mean?
Beginning of every episode, everyone gets a voice check. We thought
yeah,
Brandon
you
was
went,
so goddamn
"Well."
hysterical. I didn't get one.
You went, well.
Oh, I didn't.
That was your. Yes, you did.
I
proof.
didn't.
I have proof. I'm
Whatever.
gonna leave it in at the beginning just to
Do
show
No!
the rewind sound effect and then just clip it.
I'll play the rawr sound effect.
Please don't.
Oh my god. I gave you a voice check. You know I gave you a voice check. I just didn't say Grace say something because I knew that you would respond with some form of noise after I did my form of noise.
You're a form of noise.
It's true.
Are you saying form of noise or formal noise?
Yes, she made a formal noise. Can you tell me what formal noise means, Brandon?
So if you want to make like a noise, I don't know, give me a noise to just give me a random noise and I'll formalize it. I need you to do that again because that wasn't. All right, so that formalized would be.
Okay. Why did you become Muscle Man?
Yeah, you know what? I think that intro voice was just inspired just between you and Muscle Man, and
I'm
now
glad
I
we
think
sound
about
so similar.
I
Thank
wouldn't
you.
say you sound similar. I was like, combining the two, like there's a little spin on it.
Glad I could be a inspiration to you, Brandon. I'm glad I could really rock your world. You're welcome.
Alright.
Wow.
Now that we're all officially out of school for the summer, which meh. You guys want to talk about summer plans?
If summer plans includes eat, sleep, repeat, then absolutely I do.
Brandon's dad is trying to kill him again. He's being dragged to Arizona in an RV.
In June. In June.
But do you have AC in that RV, Brandon? Is there AC?
You know what? I don't even know because I think we're renting it, or he's renting it, or something.
He just picked it off the side of the road because he's trying to kill you. He wants you to die of heat stroke.
It's actually the one that he's actually coming by your house, Steven. He's picking up yours, so no, actually, we're not gonna have AC.
I thought you were gonna make a your mom joke. That you were gonna be like, he's actually making a stop at your house to pick up your mom on the way.
You know who else's van doesn't have AC? Your mom.
Your mom. That one episode of regular show where like Muscle Man, you're doing the joke wrong. Oh my god. Should we
Nobody talked about my mom.
Nobody. Oh my god. Eat this picture of my mom.
Oh my god.
We need to give context for the RV thing. We're just gonna
Yeah,
leave
we've
it.
already talked about it in a previous episode.
I definitely
Did we?
cut it out.
Okay.
It was
Okay, well,
irrelevant
the
to
first
the
time-
topic at hand, and we were 30 minutes over, so I was just like,
Your
alright.
mom's 30 minutes over.
Well, basically, long story short, the first time I met Steven in person, his mom invited me in their little RV trailer, but it didn't have air conditioning, and she made that a point. So
She
we just kind
didn't
of
make it a point. She made it very apparent.
chilled outside in the shade that the RV van was providing.
Yeah, it was like 102 degrees outside, and it was for like some soccer tournament thing, and he was just like, I'm good. I don't want to go in your van." And my mom was just like, "No, I insist. Please."
What if she was plotting to beat me like that one child from Disneyland?
What if you
I
I
was
thought we
so- I was
established
so-
you are that child.
I was so innocent back then. I didn't know what she was capable of, what I could have been walking into.
She was that child, recognized you, and was just like, "Hi." Long time no see.
I don't even
grown
know who
up.
you
I don't even know you. Oh my god. Should we also provide, like, the backstory to the Brandon's dad bit?
Yeah, if we're gonna make this like an interlude episode, might as well explain our bits that we have not
Essentially-
explained.
Yeah, essentially, if you are just an avid fan of us, you will know there was one Monday where we just didn't post anything and didn't acknowledge it because we didn't want to acknowledge it. And that is because we fucked up that recording. Steven fucked up that recording. So everything we had recorded, everything we had recorded got completely wiped.
Except for, like, maybe cumulative of 15 seconds of Brandon and Grace just laughing. It was
Yeah.
like an hour and 15 minutes of dead silence with the occasional chuckle.
Yeah, very unsettling. We didn't feel it was airworthy.
I mean, unless people wanna listen to that clip, I will gladly upload it.
The topic of the episode was things we have done to almost kill ourselves or other people.
As a child,
And
as a young,
yeah,
as
as
young
a child.
lads
As
or
a child. That's a very
lasses,
important
Oh my
distinction.
God.
As a child. And
as young
so,
lads or lasses. Yeah.
and so, who knows? Maybe we'll tell some of these stories here. But essentially, in one of those stories where Brandon talks about almost killing himself, it was essentially his dad trying to kill him. And we kind of realized the recurring theme of Brandon's dad almost accidentally killing him on multiple occasions. So we're like, what if it's not accidental?
It's totally on purpose.
Well, one of the stories was I was learning to ride a dirt bike when I was a young lad indeed. I'd probably like
He was a
Steven, calm
little
down.
young lad.
I was like 8 or something. I don't remember it was like 7 or 8, but like yeah, he taught me how to. It was up in my stepmom's mother's ranch that I have mentioned previously, but thing is that it was raining and it was muddy, and she had this little square in her backyard which was just very overrun with greenery, and so since it was raining it was just muddy, it was mushy, and yeah, my
Eddie
dad
hated
was
you.
Yeah.
and basically it was just a really bad time because yeah, the ground was, I was constantly fighting the bike trying not to fall over, but then at one point the mud and the greenery just kind of covered a very large stump in the ground, so I hit that and basically flew off the bike head first. Like, if the ground wasn't mushy, I don't know, my neck would probably not be okay, but basically, if you know what a motorcycle, like a dirt bike helmet looks like, you know, it has kind of like the little, like, pointed, like, tip on the top of your head, kind of this, kind of like the visor, basically, but not, it doesn't, like, go over your eyes, it just kind of sticks out, kind of as, like, a sun, whatever, block the sun. And that lodged into the ground, into the mud, and on my way down, a wasp just got in the middle, like, just, I somehow caught the wasp with my face, so there was just a wasp on my goggles, but it was stuck because my helmet was wedged in the ground, and my dad's, like, deathly allergic to bees, and at this point we didn't know if I was, just because I've been lucky enough not to have been stung by a bee or a wasp, but I was understandably flipping out, like,
You were a
and
little
I
young
could not,
lad.
I could not unwedge myself from the ground, and yeah, my dad had to, like, help get me up and stuff, but yeah, it wasn't a great time. I mean, I did learn under better circumstances how to ride a dirt bike, and I enjoy riding dirt bikes to this day, but that first experience wasn't great.
And the theory is that Brandon's dad has actually been trying to kill him ever since he was born, purely because of the pain and almost near-death experience he put his mother through
That, and
while
it's
being
really funny.
born. And so we think that Brandon's dad has had a grudge against him ever since then, and has been secretly trying to kill him. And Brandon, much like Perry the Platypus, has just thwarted his dad's plans every time.
He somehow, as
Yeah.
I was being born, just, like, somehow, like, psychic powers made me turn my head wrong, and my mom needed a C-section, and I almost
Absolutely.
died, and she almost died.
Absolutely. Or he just blames you because he thinks you did it on purpose, and that's why he's been trying to get back at you for so long.
I personally think Brandon's gonna get hit with karma, karma, and kill like anybody he decides to procreate with.
I would be what? But, you know,
it's just life coming back around and giving you the same medicine you tried to give.
Unlucky.
Yeah, but every time Brandon does something in which he gets caused pain or potentially avoided death, we think that his dad had something to do with it, and his plan was just thwarted once again by by unnecessary circumstances.
We've mentioned it like once or twice throughout the episodes. I don't think we've ever made it like a full-on bit, but it needed to be addressed.
We've brought it up a good number of times, especially in the the parent mistake ones. We were just like, no, that was just your dad trying to murder you.
Yeah.
He didn't mess up. He was just trying to get you.
Yeah.
At that point, it was just kind of out of context, though, because we kind of, we came up with you guys came up with the theory in
No,
the
you
episode that
came
didn't
up
get
with
released.
it.
So,
It's a theory that you did not object to or get offended by.
And go along with quite well.
well,
I don't
was
know.
gonna
If
say
you need
it's
help,
gonna
blink
be
2
like-
times, Brandon.
Brandon, are you safe?
Are you under duress?
I'm.
He just blinked twice. Holy crap!
Ah!
What?
We didn't tell you how fast you needed to blink.
Or how many times I should have blinked.
I said twice.
She
What are you
definitely did
talking
say
about?
twice. We just said you needed to blink twice, and you blinked twice.
I didn't hear that part. My brain just decided
Yeah,
not
because
to
your
hear
Brandon,
that.
dad slowly inflicting brain damage for years.
Your dad's been slowly poisoning the air around you. He's been giving you carbon dioxide poisonings. He's trying
Unlucky.
to kill you.
Breathing in my face. Just
He's
take
just
that
exhaling.
carbon.
He's just exhaling right in front of you. Oh my god. But, so, summer plans. What's the last thing brought up? What are you guys doing for the summer?
I just realized, would you be able to record the podcast if you're going on this great adventure into the great Arizona area?
I'll just record a few in advance.
Because we're so
What if
good
I
at
don't
that.
want to? That's precious time being taken up on our part.
Well, then, you know
No,
what?
podcast,
Maybe
guys.
our
This is the
first.
last episode.
Maybe we'll have our season 1 finale before.
Sorry,
that.
guys. The Third Wheel podcast is breaking up due to internal creative differences.
These are internal problems that cannot be resolved. There's just some sort of it's just not working out. You know?
I hate these guys. I want them to die. See you guys next week at lunch.
Are we gonna have seasons, or are we just gonna kind of go through like one whole thing?
Theoretically, we have seasons only because
We
it was
do?
an option. It's only because it's an option when I upload things. It all depends on whenever I decide season 2 is, or whenever we decide season 2 is.
I don't know. Personally, I think it'd be like a lot more fun if we had more guests and stuff, but
Oh,
nobody
yeah.
sticks around long enough to learn how to be one. Except for that one guy. Who's the one guy who's like, make me guess?
Mr. Randall Roach. He's a friend from high school. He just doesn't check his email to know that I responded to him.
Make me guess.
Also, there's also a friend of mine that is interested, and I explained
Well,
it.
I haven't gotten the email.
Well, he's interested.
We
I
have a procedure.
We have a system.
He's not special.
He's not welcome here.
Yeah, instantly no. He's trying to get in through back doorways. We're done. You're done. Get out of here.
We don't have back doors. We have one front door, and
We have an entrance and a receptionist. There's a reason we pay her.
That's right. I don't get paid because I'm assuming I'm the receptionist.
Absolutely, you are.
Saying that I'm the one.
You're the she that we pay.
Well,
I
I'm
don't get paid.
not gonna tell
You
you
get
their
paid in
name,
wax.
then. So when
That's
they
true.
do email you, then you won't know. So they'll
Yeah,
be
if you're the
able to-
one guy listening, you're probably not going to get on because Brandon called you out. But please do send us an email.
Randall, respond to me.
Oh, like I said, I'm not gonna
Now,
name
Randall.
names, so then you won't know, and
Randall.
therefore,
Mr.
I swear to God,
Randall Roach.
Swear to God, I've had like 5 people ask me to be a guest, and I'm like, oh, well, if you listen to the podcast, you'll know how to be a guest. And then like I never hear from
And then
them
all
again.
5 of them are just like, oh, I have to listen to it.
Bro, someone was like, oh, can I like casually mentioned I was in a podcast, and they were like, oh, well, like I'd love to be a guest, and I'm like, oh, well, I didn't even know you knew I was in a podcast, and they're like, oh, I didn't, and I was like, what? You don't even know what my podcast is about, and they were like, doesn't matter, I just like podcasts.
Today's
Like-
episode, we will be talking about how buttons are made.
I thought it was like the most whack ass thing. I was like, bro,
Just to be so willing
Bruh.
to do a podcast with someone, yeah, kind of.
If
Oh,
you
it was like, you don't
correction,
even.
you will.
Bruh, like, the podcast could literally be about, like, my closeted documentary about death to America, but you don't care because you like podcasts.
I kind of wanna send the podcast to my English professor who made me do a podcast for my final, just to be like, this is why I have a podcast voice, by the way.
This is why I have a podcast voice. This is why I'm so good with the podcast music.
This is why this is why the podcast music was good. This is why this actually sounded like, you know, a kind of a podcast, because I know kind of how to do it. I've done enough episode editing to know like what are the do's and do nots. I'm still bad at it, but I figured out how to be not the worst. You should listen to it. Sensational. Brandon.
How are you gonna say that?
Get wrecked. I stole it from you. Brandon, other than
Yes.
other than Arizona and dying, what else are you doing?
Well,
We're living
I'm dead,
vicariously through you.
Well, okay. I mean, meet up with some friends that I haven't seen.
You don't have
but
friends.
Oh shit.
You don't have friends.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! That's sexist.
What? What?
It's
my
called
God.
a double standard, Brandon.
Oh no, we're
Fuck
gonna.
you.
Alright, well, if to any sponsor who was gonna sponsor us, they will not sponsor us anymore. We have been demonetized without even being monetized.
It's
Right.
okay. I feel like when we do get a sponsorship, it's gonna be like the most whack ass thing that's
Oh,
like
yeah,
not even related.
Absolutely. You know,
It'll be
for a
like
fact-
Dollar Shave Club or like a weirdly specific brand of dog food no one's ever heard of.
I would love to get like the men's club to sponsor us so that we can have Grace talk to our viewers about what it's like to shave her beard. Just talking about
My mustache is especially tricky.
Just we got just like, hey men, do you want to learn how to grow your beard to its max potential? Well, so do I.
Personally, I would love to get the dog food sponsorship because then I could be like, hey, do you barely get monetized for any of your videos and need to feed your intern Randall? Boy, do we have a solution for you.
Oh my God, Randall's become part of the podcast lore. That's fantastic.
Randall, you're now a meme because you haven't checked your email.
Check your email, Randall.
That's
This is
the
what
thing.
happens.
If you send us an email, we have full permission to make fun of you, especially if you don't respond.
We just talked about it in the next episode. Be like, we didn't choose your topic because you're an idiot, but also we had specific reasons. We just...
Randall, you are now our unofficial intern. Go eat some dog food.
Okay, go eat some dog food. Oh my God, that would.
And
be
shave my
hilarious.
beard after.
Oh.
Oh.
That's right. We're encroaching in on human rights violations, but it's fine.
Oh my God, he's not an intern. He's just a slave.
He's a random person who sent us an email.
Well, I know him. He's a random person to you guys.
No, he's not. He's the intern.
No, he's not. It's Randall. Oh my God. Brandon, do you have any names you want to call out of the people that have been asking you?
No, because you said you're not gonna say yes to them.
I know,
So
we
we'll
will
protect
definitely
their
make fun of
identity
any
until
name.
they send an email, and that way
will
they
make fun
can
of
be on the
any name.
podcast if they really want to.
No,
I
we'll
will-
make fun of any name that comes out of your mouth.
Grace Madrid.
Damn, that chick's hot.
Damn, he really went for the low blow and she said Uno reverse card. Damn, that would be maybe so. I want to make fun of people, Brandon. Can you drop some names? Be a snitch. Let me know who's not listening to the podcast all the
If
time.
anybody else, just as a disclaimer, if anybody else asks me to be a guest on the podcast, I will say yes, but I will give you the wrong topic. Because it's very obvious you do not listen to our procedures, so I will make sure you are not prepared and you will go first.
And we will make you go first too.
Yeah,
We will just be
no
like, we established the
time to think
topic.
about it.
Yeah, we established the topic. Here it is, and then just be like, well, thank you for sharing, I guess, but we're talking about this and make you uncomfortable. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, I
No
mean,
longer caring.
our family needs to grow. We've grown by 2 people. Our imaginary secretary is also Steven, and the intern Randall.
I need to feed my intern. I need to feed my people. Listen to the podcast.
We need to feed Randy. Please listen.
Randy's a big guy. He eat a lot of food. He needs the energy, man.
We need that dog eat kibble.
Whoa.
All I'm saying is it would be a perfect sponsorship opportunity.
But what kind of Ducky Kimball?
It doesn't even matter. That's the beauty.
If any sponsors are listening right now, this is the grade A material you're missing out on. This is what you need.
If we get any more of those, like, like we'll mention you if you mention us type like deals, we're gonna roast the shit out of your podcast.
See,
we will listen to one episode and like tear you apart.
See, the funny thing is that I just can apply for that whenever I want to, and it's just an acceptance thing. I just don't apply for those types of things without first consulting you guys about it, because then it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, we're talking on Randy's sandals today, we're supposed to talk about how great sandals are on Lake Day. There you go, guys. Got us a sponsor. Yeah, I didn't want to do that because otherwise I would have just signed up for like literally every sponsorship opportunity and would have just been like, "Hey, guys, we're doing all of these things now. Expect to be there."
So if we ever start talking about why it's okay to wear socks with sandals, it's just because we're doing it for the
sponsor
sponsorship.
of this video. I have such a good sponsor voice, dude. I had a stroke when saying I'm so good at talking.
We need
about
a stroke
sponsors.
counter because that seems to happen a lot between all of us.
It's
Between
true.
you guys.
Yeah. I think you had a stroke once, Grace, and no one said
That's because I was making fun of Brandon having a stroke. Anyway.
The montage of Brandon having a stroke is probably my favorite clip that I own, because I could just add to it, and you guys probably wouldn't know. There could be like a whole nother hour to it, and no one would have any idea. But school's out. How you guys feeling? You guys feeling towards?
I'm brain dead.
I'm doing alright. This is my first day off technically because yesterday I moved out of the dorms. I'm back home officially.
Fun.
Yeah, it was interesting because like I didn't get along with like over half of my roommates for most of the year until like the last month where we're like, let's forget about everything and just decide to be cool. So I was like, you know what? Fair enough.
I guess so.
But like at the end, like I was just having like the weirdest conversations with them. Like this one girl, she's like, "Oh, I lost my AirPods, my driver's license." Like she's like telling me all this like really important shit she lost in her room. She's like, I hope I find it on move out day. And I was like, yeah, I hope you find it too. Dude, dorm life is weird. It really is.
No, I would not know.
It's an interesting experience. I feel like if you like your roommates, it's really good, but if you don't, it's a really bad experience.
The only experiences I've had with like dorm living is that I did a camp, like a soccer camp in Stanford when I was like 13, and we were there for like 4 or 5 days, and I had to stay there with a group of guys that were just randomly assigned. You could choose to have whatever roommates you wanted, but I don't have friends who play soccer, so I was just kind of like there. But all of them were, I would say, a lot younger than me. I would say, yeah, I was like 13, and then I think the next closest to me would have been, no, I would have been like 15, and the next closest would have been like 13. But like 13's that really gross age where like they're just annoying. And I say this because the first night there, I was there earlier before everyone else, picked my spot, whatever, walked around campus getting ready for stuff, and then I went back and met one of the guys, and he was just like, "Hey, do you like Fortnite?"
Like, that's the cringiest question.
I was just like, no. No, I think I've played it maybe once. I don't know. And he was just like, oh, well, I have it on my phone. We can play Fortnite. You want it? And I was just like, I'm good. I'm really good, man. And I didn't really talk to like literally any of them else after that, because like if you were in the same room with someone, you were on the same team with them throughout the camp. So I was on their team, and was around them a lot, but like we didn't exchange words. And then the other only like college dorm aspect I ever got was I got to see Eric's roommates before he changed dorms, and they were a group of 7 guys who all wanted to be in the same dorm, and he just happened to be the unlucky 8th person that got to be assigned into one of the rooms with them. And,
that's so unlucky.
yeah, when we first walked into the dorms, as I went with him, they had already set up beer pong and were playing it, and we walked through them to go to his room, and they were just like, "Yo, bro, are you Eric?" We were just like,
Really? No shit, the one guy you don't know in your room.
Yeah, he was just like, yeah. And they were just like, "Yo, is Eric?"
I mean,
Like-
did he vibe with them?
Like, no.
Oh.
Like, full frat boy energy, and Eric was just like, I don't want to be here.
I feel like, okay, but I feel like if you step outside your comfort zone a little and you just kind of go with the flow, that could have been a really fun experience. I mean, I guess it just depends.
It would have, but I got to learn, like, because he was there for maybe half of the last semester, so he was there for a little bit, and was around it, and it was that stuff was awful. There would be guys coming home,
Yeah.
like, come back to the dorms at like 4 o'clock in the morning and having just like super aggressive sex in the room
Oh.
next
Yeah,
to him.
I get it. My roommates come home, they're always hella loud. It's the worst.
Apparently, like at one point in time, like one of like the roommate, because how UNR had it in that room is like there were 2 people to a room, and so at one point in time he walked in on them and just went, then closed the door and like I think headed over to Dylan and Jakes and was just like,
Yeah, I know, I get it. That's pretty intense.
Yeah,
I
so
think though.
I wouldn't imagine. I would try to get along with my roommates, but that's also because like I would want to meet other people when I go to
Yeah, no,
when
I
when
like
I'm
I
there,
said, dorm life is really hit or miss. My actual roommate, we are the exact same person. We have so much in common. Like we have pretty similar like comfort zones, and like we just mesh together really, really well. My other dorm mates are like the exact opposite of me. They're very like extroverted, outgoing. They go to parties, they get shit faced, they like literally like throw up all over themselves. They literally told me a story of how they like went behind some random person's car and like pissed near it because they refused to let them go to the bathroom like
what the
in a house
fuck?
party.
Oh.
And I was just like, I could never do that. Never in a million years.
That's public.
You know?
Gee, that's
I
bad.
know. I know, which is so much harder for women. Which is why I was even more shocked. I was like, men, it's equally as disgusting, but I kind of get it. But women, you have to like fucking squat. And, like, it's just, I was kind of like impressed in a way. I was like, how do you do that?
Oh my god.
But,
I would gotta say
No,
that.
I recommend dorm life. Like, it's definitely worth a try. It's not for everybody. Like, if you have horrible, crippling social anxiety, I would not recommend it just because the odds of you getting someone like your best friend for like the rest of your life, it does not outweigh like everybody has this shitty roommate story. You have to go through a lot of terrible roommates to find someone you mesh with really well. It happened to work out for me perfectly, but I also got lucky in the way that like I didn't have to share a room with anybody else other than like the person I liked, you know.
Right.
It's a great way to meet people though, because even if you don't like your roommates are going to know other people that they're going to introduce you to.
Right.
And, you know, you just get more social that way.
Yeah, true.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Steve.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I agree. I would like to be dorm life, but at the same time, I also don't want to have an instance like Eric as well. So it would be
aggressively loud sex.
Yeah, I don't want to have aggressively loud sex with Eric. No, I don't want to have an instance where it's just like I have to worry about someone else being a child. Like that's why I would go
yeah,
with a
no,
roommate
I'm
with
telling
someone.
people all the time. They're always asking like, how does it feel to be an adult? And I'm like, it feels exactly the same. The only adult aspect is I'm taking care of the fucking children around me.
Yeah.
That's all that's changed. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I swear. Like, I literally found a drunk chick one time, middle of campus. It was like midnight. It was an empty campus and it was pitch black. The one thing I hate about our campus is it's very dark and there are very few to like none like what are they, blue lights? Yeah, like the emergency lights. I know where like maybe 2 or 3 are on like my entire campus, and one of them's in my village. Like they're very unhelpful. We need a lot more of them. But no, this chick was like blacked out. Like she was passed out in the middle of campus. Like she was that fucked up. Like she was literally passing in and out of consciousness. I had to help her home. Me and my friend, we helped her home. Bro, she refused our help. She in the time frame, which is 2 hours, because this whole debacle ended at 2 a.m. Here's some of the highlights. She refused our help, so she barely was able to walk home. She weirdly enough knew the people who lived underneath me and like was talking to them through a window, which was super weird. So because we were watching her because we wanted to make sure she would get home safe. Yeah. So we were watching her from like a distance. So she knew the people who lived underneath me. She was talking to them through the window. Then she walked away and walked towards her dorm. She slammed her head against the wall and then fell. And we're like, hey, can we let you in? And she's like, check me, which was very hard because like I was with a guy at the time and I was like freaking out and I was like, dude, like I think we should just call the cops. And he's like, no. So he was trying to search her in a very non-creepy way, which is very hard because he's a man who's like double her size. So he was like checking her for a phone and ID, which because, you know, our key cards are, you know, key cards. Like they're not like physical keys. She had nothing on her. No ID, no money, no phone, no nothing. So we're like, great. We have no idea who this chick is. We just know like the vague room she lives in. And she started talking shit about her other roommates, which she dropped their 2 names. And the RAs cleverly have their names plastered on their door. So we're like, okay, so your name is this. Fantastic. We have something to work with now. So yeah, no. Flash forward, she slams her head on a lot more stuff. There's a lot of cement in our building. She was probably concussed by the end of the night. God. Swear to God. And then these 2 other girls walk by and they live in her building. And I like stop them as they're going up the stairs. So I'm like, hey, do you know this girl or anybody who lives in that room right over there? And they're like, oh, no, we don't. But they see, like, obviously I am, like, kind of weirded out. And they don't want Brennan to, like, take the brunt of it. Brennan's the friend who I was with. And they're like, we get it. He's trying to help. But obviously, if it's a guy, it kind of comes off as creepy. So they're trying to help. So they're talking to her and they're like, hey girl, like what do you need? Who are you? And she's like confusing everybody. Like she was confusing me and my friend Brennan for like other people. Like she's that messed up. Yes. But no, for some reason, she knew this girl who was trying to help was nobody that she knew. All she knew is she had bleached blonde hair and she was white. So she screamed, white bitch, and bitch slapped her across the face.
Oh.
Bro, she was not having it. She was like, understandably walked away, and I was like, thank you for your help. I'm sorry. Anyway, we tried to sit her upright, but that didn't really work. So we just kind of left her to lay in the grass that was wet. Because we're like, at least down there, you won't, like, risk a further, like, more serious concussion.
Wow.
But then we're like, I think we should call the RA. And she's like, oh, hell no. And she gets up and she tries to walk away. And then she slams her head into a pole.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, I swear this girl had like a magnet in her head for cement. But, yeah. So essentially, he's like, yeah, no, we're not going to call anybody. Like, you have two options. Like, neither are good options. You can either, like, call the RA or on-campus police, which you don't want. She's like, yeah, that's not a good option. He's like, yeah, that's not a good option, so you want to listen to the other options. But the thing is she, like, wouldn't even let him say the other options because she got so fixated on thinking that we were going to call the police on her when we were, like, freshmen, too. Like, we get it. We don't want her to get fined because that type of fine is, like, $1,000. Like, it's serious.
Yeah.
So we're literally trying to help you, okay? So listen to the options. But again, she's like, no, that's not a good option. Don't call the police. So he, like, looks over at me and he's like, call the RA. He's like, call him. So I call my RA because it's 2 a.m. at this point, and I'm like, hey. We found a drunk student. And she's like, yeah, let me stop you right there. I'm not dealing with it. Call the on-call number, which is a 24-hour number for, like, a multitude of problems, but obviously it's mostly for, like, night crap like that. Like drunk students, vandalism, etc. So she sends me the on-call number, and I'm like, great. And then I call the number, and I'm like, hello? And they're like, hello? And this is Natalie. And I'm like, hey, Natalie, I have a problem.
We got a situation.
Yeah, and I was like, there's a very intoxicated student. And she, oh my, I swear to God, she let out the world's biggest sigh. She goes, where are you? And I'm like, oh my, I was like, I felt bad. And she was, so I told her, like, the location, like, what village we were in front of what building, etc. And they're like, okay, like, we'll be there as quick as we can. Because not only was it the on-call student, because it was a student employee. So it was the on-call student, Natalie, and our residential area coordinator. So it was the boss of all the RAs on campus.
Oh.
So they get there, and they're like, yep, we're calling the cops. So, like how they went there only to say we're calling the cops. Like they didn't say call the cops yourselves. They're like, we'll be right there to call the cops.
Yeah, we'll call the cops for you.
Yeah, so they call the cops, and what's really neat is, like, if you call 911, it's automatically transfers over to our police station on campus, which is really nice because we actually live right next to the police station, so it took them, like, less than 2 minutes to get there. But essentially, yeah, they get there and they're like, so yeah, there's like 3 policemen, like 4 paramedics, and they're all like taking our statements and trying to get her to be like responsive. Cause like she's lucid, but she's like kind of only answering questions that she like wants to hear or thinks that she's hearing.
Right.
But like obviously she's fucked up. She might be on like some type of drugs or something. Just because like just you could kind of tell just because by the way she's acting, she's kind of aggressive and the look in her eyes. And so essentially, props to her commitment because they're like what's your name? And as soon as they ask how old are you, she's like 21. Doesn't even flinch. She's like 21. And like the area coordinator just kind of like looks at the paramedic and goes, "She's not 21," because she's so committed to saying she's 21, but she's saying she lives in freshman housing.
Right. Yeah.
Because only freshmen are allowed to live in the housing that we're in, so they're just kind of looking at her like, "How fucking stupid do you think we are?" But oh my god. So yeah, they're like freaking out and they're like taking our statements to which we're like, dude, she's probably heavily concussed.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so they kind of I remember I was really upset because she threw up all over herself. I forgot to mention this though. Like when she got to her door, she threw up all over herself and she was so intoxicated that it was like to the point where you don't even like lean over to do it. Like she just threw up on herself.
Oh my god.
So essentially I took the hair tie out of my hair and I like tied it up. to keep like the hair out of her face.
Mm-hmm.
That way, less puke all over like her hair and whatever,
Right.
which again ultimately covers her and more puke. But I was so pissed because I loved that hair tie. She took it with her. I remember I didn't want to like stop the paramedics and be like, wait, before you put her in the ambulance, I want my hair tie back.
Don't take her to the
Because that's kind
hospital
of like
yet.
a
Need my
dick
hair
move
tie.
after I call the cops on her. But I was like, oh my god, no, I was like hella pissed off. But we got like then like essentially they like ask for like our student like IDs and our student email, or just like our student IDs, because that way they can find our student emails in case they needed to ask us like follow-up questions.
Yeah.
And then everybody thanks us. We're like, thank you. We know it's not hard to like, it's really hard to like do that, especially when it's another classman. But like, thank you for like thinking of our safety and everything else. And we're like, yeah, of course. To which I was like, fuck it, I need a Snickers, 7-Eleven.
You're not you.
This shit sucks. I want Snickers and Hubba Bubba.
What you guys didn't know is that this whole situation, this whole story, was just a plug for our sponsor, Snickers.
Slash S.
But no. But that's why I was out in the first place. I wanted a fucking Snickers and I found her.
Could you imagine,
Hey.
like, telling that, though? Like, just sitting there, just being like, so how did you come across this girl? So, I was on my way to get a Snickers.
Yeah.
There's just a girl on the ground, and I was just like, I could leave her and come back, and she'd probably be here after I got my Snickers. But I should probably do this.
Literally. I remember we got like a week later, the resident, like the area coordinator, like sent us an email too, and was like, thank you so much for caring about like the safety of like, a student. Like, we really appreciate it, like more than you'll ever know. But then, like, they kept the recipients hidden. Like, we weren't the only two people, and we were there. I was like, Brandon, do you know who this other person is? We were the only two people there. Why are you keeping our identities hidden? But I remember, like this was like 2 weeks ago. Like, I saw her again. And she had an icy walking out of the dining hall. And she didn't even flinch. She didn't even know what I looked like. But, like, I remember, I like, pulled up notes on my phone so fast. And I was like, Amy, oh, my God. That's that drunk bitch the other day. I was laughing so hard. And I was like, she doesn't even know it's me. But I could end her whole career right now. But yeah, no, I saw her and I was like, oh my God, she doesn't remember me. Thank Jesus. But no, college is a really weird experience.
I will say, like, I think one of the other reasons why we did click so well is because none of us, like, were just kind of obnoxiously, like, just like obnoxious, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I will say my roommate directly next to me.
I hear lots of screaming every time I called you.
He's a gamer, and I can appreciate this because I also like to game on my computer. But he had some serious gamer rage.
You think this would upset Brandon, but no. Every time
it was
he yelled
quite
or
amusing,
cursed or
actually.
screamed, Brandon would start laughing.
And the only reason why, like, I found it so amusing and I wasn't annoyed by it is because I understood, because I have those few video games where I just lose my shit because I'm, like, angry, but...
My thing when it comes to like gamer rage is like when they reach that point where words don't exist anymore. Words don't work. It's just noises and angry notions, but they also have just enough self-control to not like throw anything or punch anything. I'm indirectly calling out my brother right now because he's in the room like down the hall, and occasionally he'll be playing a game where like he'll get mad in like the like with a friend kind of way, like it's his friend does something and he's just like, ah! But then there'll also be those games where I know he's not playing with other people because he'll just be like, "What the fuck?" Lose his absolute shit. One of my favorite things that he's ever done, and I will try my absolute best to recreate it. He would build up like all of this anger, and then like try to like I'm collecting so much static electricity. I can feel it in my headphones. He'd build up all of this like anger, but not want to like yell really loud, but also would want to like just release tension. So he would like scream with his mouth closed and end up blowing like a raspberry. Which is the, yeah. So he would just be like, and it's so funny to listen to down the hallway because it just echoes as it comes by, and I'm just like, it's a reoccurring thing, and it's so much fun to listen to because I'm just like, he's having a bad time, but that noise is really funny. So I'm right there with you, Brandon.
Yeah, but
I think the spectating of the gamer rage is honestly quite amusing.
and then another thing, all four of us were pretty much united. All like there was a point where I think it was during like the night where we sat down, just watched a movie or whatever, ate pizza, where we were addressing because we were all like, I mean, aside from my one roommate who would gamer rage, like we were all relatively quiet. The problem was the people above us, the floor above us, like I don't know what they would do, but like there was like bloody murder screams at least every other night, and there was your normal
As they
just
should.
banging and very loud like loud crashes, and they were partiers. Like
Hashtag girl boss.
they threw a lot of parties,
They
and
know what they want and they go
like
for it.
and at one point, my roommate Keaton, he went up there one night and he was like, "Hey, can you guys like what are you guys doing? Like, can you quiet down?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sorry, we were wrestling." Like, okay.
Dude,
And
my roommates gave me so much anxiety because the first like week, the guys upstairs were like, "Can you guys stop making so much noise? It's like you're stomping." And it's like, bro, we're walking and we live upstairs. Like, I don't know what you want. But after a while, my roommates took that personally, and so every time they're upset or they think about it, they'll stomp or throw something on the ground just to fuck with the guys downstairs. And every time I hear one of my roommates walking loudly, I'll be like, "Oh, like just be mindful of your steps for the guys downstairs." They'll proceed to jump up and down just to fuck with me.
oh
And I'm like,
jeez,
stop.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
jeez.
All right, well, it's about that time where we wrap it up. So, as established literally 5 minutes ago, this is an interlude episode. There's not really gonna be a third wheel. We'll
1, 2, 3, not it.
You can determine, like, got it.
Oh, wow, fuck.
Okay, I guess that's how we're doing it.
Oh my god. Alright.
Yeah, after the end of every episode that ends with a tie, we'll probably do an interlude like this of just kind of like conversation, see where it leads. I think now a majority of our topic was about dorm life and living in dorms and stuff, so it kind of happened to turn out that way. But like we'll give you clue-ins about like how things work, like different jokes that just kind of appear that really have no context, like Brandon's dad. If there is anything that you guys would like to know about us or like certain context about situations for interludes like this, send us a DM on Instagram, send us an email. Steven really, really wants to see your email so he can roast you.
Let me be my receptionist, please. I get paid on commission.
Steven doesn't want to eat dog food forever. Poor Randall's starving right now.
I need to. I'm getting the brunt of everything. I'm being treated like the intern until we get a new intern. I don't graduate to that really pristine dog food until we get someone else who can finish off the leftovers.
Randall's eating better than him, and Randall hasn't even been on the show yet.
That's true. It's true. Yeah, we'll take interlude episodes during ties and just do whatever, and try to keep you updated, or we'll just make up shit as we go, and no one will have any idea what is happening either. So you'll be right there with the rest of us, not knowing what's going on. Make sure that you like our podcast wherever you're listening to it, and send emails if you want to be a part of it. Give us topic ideas. You can talk to us without having to send us an email. It's just only if you want to be a part of the podcast. So say
Send
things,
us
do
ideas,
things.
what you want to see,
Yeah.
what you want to talk about.
Be active in the comments. Let us know your stories and whatnot. We might even take one of these interlude episodes if a tie happens again, just to read comments and whatnot and find funny things. So,
Yeah, we would love to roast you all and or respond to different questions.
absolutely.
Or feel free to roast us in the comments too. That'd be even funnier.
Absolutely
We
destroy
encourage
Brandon in the comments.
a multi-sided abusive relationship.
That mainly focuses on Brandon.
Yeah.
Oh.
We love all of our viewers. We're hoping you hate us as much as we hate you. Whether you're from the U.S. or our third most listened to country, which is what, like Brussels?
It's Brussels, Germany. No, I said Germany. It's Belgium.
Yeah. Belgium.
Our boys in Belgium, they got
We
us.
love
They
you
know what's
like
up.
2 viewers in Belgium.
We love you, Brussels. Well, anyways, there's no third wheel today. There wasn't a third wheel last episode. We're really not living up to the name of our podcast.
I mean, I guess we're third wheeling in our own podcast in that way, but
Hey, let's go.
It's the
Absolutely.
viewers' fault. They're the third wheel because
Remember-
they're not signing up as guests and therefore can't.
everybody who listens to this podcast is a loser, so we don't need a designated third wheel.
The last 5 minutes of this podcast are just absolutely attacking our audience. Oh my god.
It's okay.
It's too bad none of you are listening.
Yeah,
For
you know
real.
what?
Are we gonna pretend that our viewer, like listeners, make it this far?
I was gonna say, like, you know, like if they did make it this far, like we should be like rewarding them for actually like dedicating their time, but
the one
rather
or
they're
two
getting trashed on.
For the 1 or 2 people that actually make it to the end, we appreciate you. You get the premium dog food. Fuck everybody else.
If you're listening on YouTube, there's a tag that just appeared in the top right corner of your screen that has your reward. You click on it, it'll take you to a picture of Brandon. There you go. That's your reward. His face is so not happy.
Can we just edit Brandon on like a tricycle?
Why on a tricycle?
Done.
Because there's 3 wheels on a tricycle.
Only people on YouTube will see the monstrosity that I just created.
Yeah, so if you're listening to us on any other podcast streaming platform, go listen to us again on YouTube. We need the view counts.
Oh my god.
Alright, guys, thanks for listening to Third Wheel Podcast. And if where, you know, we talked about stuff, we didn't have a third wheel this time. We're planning on having guests, but no one actually sent an email, so he's got to do that for us so that we can have more content. And that's all I have to say about that. So
Remember, there's nothing wrong with being the third wheel.
nothing wrong being the third wheel, guys.
So good thing nobody's the third wheel this time.
Absolutely.